The Grand Galactic Ball was the most prestigious event in the Orion Arm, a glittering gathering of diplomats, aristocrats, and dignitaries from across the stars. The vast hall of the celestial spire was alive with the hum of conversation, the clinking of glasses, and the soft strains of an alien orchestra. Species of all shapes and sizes mingled, their vibrant attire and exotic features creating a kaleidoscope of cultures. Yet, amidst the splendor, one figure stood apart. She was known only as Nyx, a mysterious emissary from the reclusive Velarian Enclave. The Velarians were a species shrouded in secrecy, rarely seen outside their homeworld. Nyx was no exception. She wore a mask, a delicate, shimmering construct of silver and obsidian that covered her entire face. It was beautiful, but it was also a barrier. She moved through the crowd like a shadow, her flowing black gown trailing behind her, her presence both captivating and unsettling. The mask was not merely ornamental. It was a necessity. The Velarians were a species cursed, or blessed, with a unique trait. Their true forms were said to be so overwhelming, so otherworldly, that they could drive lesser species to madness. To protect others and themselves, they hid behind masks, their true faces never revealed. Nyx had grown accustomed to the whispers. Why does she hide? What is she afraid of? Is she even real? Or just a phantom? She had heard it all before. But tonight, the whispers felt heavier, the stares more piercing. She longed to retreat to the solitude of her quarters, but duty bound her to this place. The Velarian Enclave needed allies, and she was their voice. As she stood near the edge of the room, a human approached her. He was tall, with warm brown skin and a kind smile. His name was Eli, a cultural attaché from Earth. Unlike the other attendees, who wore elaborate costumes or ceremonial armor, Eli was dressed simply in a dark suit, his only adornment a small pin bearing the emblem of the United Earth Federation. He carried himself with an ease that Nyx found both intriguing and unsettling. "May I join you?" he asked, his voice soft but confident. Nyx hesitated. Humans were still newcomers to the galactic stage, their reputation a mix of curiosity and caution. But there was something about Eli, an openness, a lack of pretense, that made her nod. "You are different," she said, her voice modulated by the mask to sound ethereal and distant. Eli chuckled. "I get that a lot, but I think you're the one who stands out here. That mask is incredible. Is it part of your culture?" Nyx stiffened. "It is necessary." Eli tilted his head, studying her. "Necessary? Why?" She turned away, her voice barely above a whisper. "To protect you. To protect everyone." Eli's expression softened. "From what?" Nyx hesitated. No one had ever asked her so directly. Most were content to speculate, to gossip, to fear. But Eli's curiosity felt genuine, not judgmental. "My kind. Our true forms are not meant to be seen," she said finally. "They are overwhelming, dangerous." Eli nodded slowly, as if considering her words. "I can't imagine what that must be like. To hide who you are, just to keep others safe." Nyx's hands clenched at her sides. "Is my duty, my burden?" Eli was silent for a moment. Then he smiled. "You know, humans have a saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It means that what one person finds beautiful, another might not. But that doesn't make it any less real." Nyx turned to him, her masked face unreadable. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that maybe your true form isn't something to be feared. Maybe it's something to be celebrated." Nyx felt a pang of something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. But it was quickly drowned out by doubt. "You don't understand. You haven't seen what I am." "Then show me," Eli said simply. Nyx recoiled. "I cannot. It is forbidden." "By whom?" Eli asked. "Your people? or yourself? Nyx had no answer. The truth was, she didn't know anymore. The mask had been a part of her for so long that she had begun to forget what lay beneath it. She had never questioned the rules, never dared to imagine a world where she could be seen, truly seen, without fear. Eli reached out, his hand hovering near hers. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. But if you ever want to take off the mask, I'll be here. And I promise I won't look away. Nyx felt something stir within her, a longing she had buried deep. For the first time in her life, she wondered what it would be like to be free. Weeks later, Nyx found herself thinking about Eli more often than she cared to admit. His words had planted a seed in her mind, one that grew with each passing day. She began to question the rules she had always followed, the fear she had always accepted. Was her true form truly so dangerous? Or had it been misunderstood, even by her own people? One evening, she summoned the courage to visit Eli in his quarters. He greeted her with the same warm smile, inviting her inside. The room was modest, filled with books and artifacts from Earth. Nyx felt a strange sense of comfort here, as if the walls themselves were welcoming her. I've been thinking about what you said, she began, her voice trembling. About showing you. Eli's expression softened. You don't have to do this, Nyx. Not unless you're ready. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, she admitted. But I want to try. Eli nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. Then I'm here. Whenever you're ready. Nyx took a deep breath, her hands trembling as she reached up to her mask. For a moment, she hesitated, the weight of centuries of tradition pressing down on her. But then she thought of Eli's words, of the kindness in his eyes, and she made her choice. The mask came off. For a moment, there was silence. Nyx braced herself for the inevitable, the screams, the revulsion, the madness. But none came. Instead, Eli simply stared at her, his expression one of awe. Nyx's true form was unlike anything Eli had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like starlight, her features both alien and mesmerizing. Her eyes, no longer hidden, glowed with an inner light, and her presence filled the room with a sense of wonder. You're beautiful, Eli whispered, his voice filled with reverence. Nyx felt tears welling up in her eyes. You're not afraid? Eli shook his head. How could I be? You're incredible, Nyx. Truly, for the first time in her life, Nyx felt seen. Not as a monster, not as a mystery, but as herself. And in that moment, she realized that the mask had never been for others. It had been for her, a shield against a world she had been taught to fear. But now, with Eli by her side, she felt ready to face that world, not as a shadow, but as a light. Epilogue. The Grand Galactic Ball the following year was a very different affair. Nyx still wore her mask, but now it was a choice, not a necessity. She walked among the crowd with her head held high, her presence no longer one of isolation, but of confidence. And by her side was Eli, his hand in hers, a reminder that true beauty is not in what we see, but in how we see each other. Together, they showed the galaxy that even the deepest fears can be overcome, and that sometimes all it takes is one person to see the truth beneath a mask.